I'm Dr. Sunny. Welcome to another edition of Rise and Shine with Dr. Sunny Fridge. I believe God's gift to us is life, and our gift to God is how we live our lives. Rise and Shine with Dr. Sunny is an opportunity for me to interview guests who are living their dreams. They share how they turn setbacks into comebacks, make their faith bigger than their fear, and live life with purpose, passion, and prosperity. If you're an entrepreneur, then like me, you've probably found succeeding in your own business or climbing the career ladder usually means doing some speaking in front of groups. It's a huge credibility builder. However, because of the fear of public speaking, it's an activity that many entrepreneurs dread. My guest is an author, public speaking, and local TEDx talk coach in the St. Louis, Missouri area. He's been interviewed by local, national, and international media, and his podcast channel is one of the top 25 public speaking podcasts on the web. If you have this public speaking fear or just want to be a better presenter, our guest has tips just for you. Welcome, Fred Miller.
Well, thank you, Sunny. It's great to be here again.
Tell us a little bit about your background.
Well, I was in the coffee service business for many years, but my passion, like yours, Sunny, is speaking. I speak, coach, and write about networking, public speaking, and presentation skills. And not having those skills holds many people back from reaching their potential. So it's a very rewarding thing to do.
So you are the author of 2 books, No Sweat Public Speaking and No Sweat Elevator Speech. Tell us about the books, and then we'll focus on one of them.
I've been speaking for a long time. I published my first book in 2011. Thought about it for many, many, many years, but I was in Toastmasters first, and I realized how powerful it is to get up in front of an audience and speak. It can be a game changer. It's the reason you're doing it. And if you have a great message and you can help people, and we both have done that, it's not just about the money. It's what that presentation can do for that person, because you want to be seen as an expert. If you deliver well, that's how you're perceived. And it comes down to my mantra, which is speaking opportunities are business, career, and leadership opportunities. No one ever challenges that. And if people can learn that skill, and they can, it's not a skill we're born with, but they can learn it, it can make a huge difference in their life.
A lot of us are entrepreneurs, and so today I want to focus on your book about doing an elevator speech. Tell us a little bit about what an elevator speech is.
Well, we've all been there. You go to a networking event, a social function, or a seminar, and the leader says, you know what, before we get started, let's down the room. It's your turn. Stand up. Tell us who you are, what you do. Give us your elevator speech. And that is a speaking opportunity for people, but so many people dread it. Or they'll go on and name all kinds of things. It has to be clear, it has to be succinct, and it has to have an impact. And if it does those 3 things, people will get it. And the bottom line of all communication, visual, written, or spoken, is the same. We want the recipients as quickly as possible to get it. Does that make sense?
It makes a lot of sense. I love when you talk about why you decided to write that book. I believe it had to do with you teaching at a local university, and maybe someone challenged you. What was your elevator speech?
Well, it was a little bit like that. I was in a networking group, E4E, Experts for Entrepreneurs, and I had written a book about public speaking. And the leader, Bill, comes to me one day and he says, hey, Fred, you're our public speaking guru. How about a presentation next month to the group on how to develop a great elevator speech? And I go, oh, geez, I struggle with that forever. Everyone struggles. But I knew it was something I had to come up with. I need a better one, and people were asking me about it. And, it's all about the backstory. Well, I didn't know where I was going to begin. The very next day, I was in my sales class, and we had a new student. And as always happened, the instructor said, we've got a newbie today. Let's go around the room, tell them who you are, what you do, give them your elevator speech. Well, mine was pretty bad. Most of them were pretty poor. But the guy sitting next to me, Roy, he had one phrase that made all the difference in the world. Everyone wrote down that phrase was hire me. Most people say, I work with companies, I help people. Well, if you're independently wealthy, God bless you, keep doing it. But hire me says, you know what? I'm really good at this. I'm proud of it. And you know what else? There's a little jack connected with it. And if it's a disqualifier, that's fantastic. Does that make sense?
It makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. But I tell people, now I was criticized once at an event. A lady said, ooh, you got a little attitude with that. Hire me, don't you, Fred? And I go, yeah, but I hope it's a good attitude. You want to work with a wimp who doesn't believe what they're doing? Mm-hmm. Having said that, if you're not comfortable with that phrase, don't use it because people will hear that in your voice. But you can always say something like, write me checks, put me on their payroll. Here's one I like. A lady in real estate said this. She said, people buying and selling homes choose me. Choose me is wonderful. If you think about, if you ever fly Southwest Airlines, when that plane lands and it's taxiing to the gate, the pilot says, we know you have choices when you fly. Thank you for choosing Southwest Airlines.
I love it. I love it. You're right. And I actually, since I'm a realtor as well, I think I will tweak my real estate.
That's right. Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yes. And for those entrepreneurs who are watching right now, and some of them may be dusting off their dreams, what would be one of the steps? I know you have a website that talks and gives free tips, as a matter of fact, but what should they do if they're just starting out? What would you suggest to them?
Well, you know what? I'll email them a template. Email me, Fred, at No Sweat Public Speaking, and I'll email them several templates to do that elevator speech. And you're going to have a bunch of them. And I have to rewrite that book because I've learned so much since I published it. Now, the elevator speech, let me back up just a little bit. There's one that you would give in front of groups, but there's also the one-on-one. And we're all familiar with this situation where the meeting begins at noon, arrive early, and network, right? Mm-hmm. And that's one-on-one. And what you want to do in that case, one of the big goals is to disqualify. Everyone's not a prospect for what you're doing. Let me tell you a story. I was at a networking event. I arrived early to network, and there was a young lady selling replacement windows for older homes. The company had been in business a long, long time, the manufacturer. The distributor who she worked for was very well known. She had a great elevator speech, but she's given it to each and every individual she met. And there were people there living in apartments, people with newer homes who didn't need windows. And quite frankly, these were very high-end windows that were not in the budget of many people. She was wasting their time and her time. So one goal is to disqualify, because what you don't want to do is spend major time on minor possibilities.
Love it.
Well, let me give you another one. You got time for another one?
I have.
Okay, and this one I got to get in the next book. But if we were one-on-one, or even in front of a group, you can use this. If we're wearing name tags, always insist on name tags. And you say, hey, Fred, I'm Sonny. What do you do? I'd say, Sonny, thank you for asking. I'm going to answer your question by asking you one. Have you ever been to an event and you're sitting there watching and listening to the speaker and you're thinking to yourself, that guy's good. I mean, he is really good. He's articulate, authentic, very entertaining. Obviously, he has a passion for what he's doing. And boy, I'm getting a lot out of this presentation. Man, I wish I could do that. I'm the guy they hire to develop, practice, and deliver presentations like that. Well, hopefully at that point, you give me your card and say, oh, we got to talk. But if you don't, I'm going to go for no. And I'll say, Sonny, I got to tell you, everyone who hires me knows speaking opportunities are business, career, and leadership opportunities. You probably don't know anyone who wants to improve their public speaking and presentation skills, do you? Come on.
Right. I have used that on people. I learned that from you.
Great.
As a matter of fact, one of my John Maxwell team members, and actually he's a mentor he recommended your book. And once I read your book, we connected.
That's right.
And
Chris Robinson.
that's right, Chris Robinson.
Yeah.
And after talking with you and getting some coaching from you, I was able to give my own elevator speech, webinar, and one-on-one. So I really thank you for that. And I know
So what is your elevator? What do you do, Sonny?
businesses, individuals, and teams hire me to help them take their communication and leadership skills to the next level. So I've got that pretty much. And, I love the fact that you do say that these opportunities can lead to career, business, and leadership opportunities. I love it because that's what we're in the business for. We want to take our business to the next level. How do we do it? Well, we have to let people know what it is that we do. So thank you for those tips. And I also wanted to ask you about the fact that you do public speaking coaching, and you're a TEDx talk.
We have a local, are you familiar with TED Talks?
Absolutely. I'm hoping.
Sure. Technology, entertainment, design. Well, they're all over the country, kind of a franchise. And I've had the privilege of coaching a number of people here. In fact, we have a meeting tomorrow night. And it can be a game changer for your life. I mean, we work really hard on it. And the people who give those talks, kind of a rule of thumb, is an hour of preparation for every minute of presentation. But it can be a game changer. If you can give a great TED talk, it's phenomenal. Because what you're up there telling people is that you're an expert. There's no selling. But if I see you as an expert in presentation skills, and I know it would benefit me, I need to have a conversation with you, or whatever that topic is. The idea is not to sell, but be perceived as an expert. Experts command more money for their products and services. And if you're giving a great presentation, just great information, content, as we call it, not selling, people will say, boy, that lady knows her stuff. I need to talk to her. I mean, she can make a difference in my life.
What I wanted to also add is that as part of being that expert and giving that presentation, you say it's important to write your own intro. Now, I want to share an intro that you wrote for one of your keynote presentations, and I want you to tell me about it after I read it. I did a little research and discovered our guest speaker had been in the coffee service business for many years. Since he used to sell coffee, I asked him to perk up our interview and not let it become a grind. I've been told he espressos himself very well and would never be considered a drip. I don't want to spill the beans on his interview. I'm curious, as I'm sure you are, to see and hear what he's brewed up for us. The title of his talk is No Sweat Public Speaking. Please help me welcome Fred Miller. Now, you gave that intro. You also give a few instructions to the person to sort of read slower the parts that you have highlighted. Talk about that particular, write your own intro.
Yeah, well, it's an integral part of the presentation. But first of all, you did a dynamite job with that.
Thank you.
And if we were in an audience, I would get them and say, Sonny, that was a great introduction. Thanks a latte. And then it always works. And I get a lot of groaners. I go, whoa, wait a minute. Sonny said it was a great audience. Come on. That is so powerful to have people laughing. First of all, we have the attention span of a gnat. And the time that you most have people's attention is right after laughter. Because the people who were paying attention, they go, ooh, I can't wait for the next one. And the people who weren't paying attention go, oh my gosh, I got to pay attention. I missed it. It is huge. But usually what will happen, Sonny, somebody's going to grab your bio. Nobody cares where you went to school, how many kids you have, and the fact that you like to collect rocks. The introduction answers 3 questions. Why this subject? Why this speaker? And why now? And it's got to be credible because people are investing time, money, sometimes their own, sometimes somebody else's, and opportunity cost. Opportunity cost is, I could be doing something else right now. Why is Sonny up there? What gives her the right to talk about this subject? It's huge. Now, here's another thing. A lot of times the person who introduces you, they've got a fear of public speaking. They only want to do it. But remember my phrase, speaking opportunities are business, career, and leadership opportunities. this can make them, this is a speaking opportunity for them. I mean, I can tell you a story once. As soon as you get a speaking gig, send them a copy of your introduction. Always bring a copy with you because they may have trashed it, handed it off to somebody. But I sent him the introduction, and right away I get an email. He says, "You're not serious about this, are you?" I said, "Mike, yeah, we're friends. Come on." So I get there. I said, "Thanks for the speaking opportunity." I brought another copy of my introduction. He goes, "I told you, this is not me. I don't do that kind of stuff." I said, "Come on, Mike, we're friends." He goes, "Only because I know you." Well, about the third espressos himself, he's doing stand-up. I made him a hero. But that's what you want to do.
Mm-hmm.
Introduction. Now, besides the introduction, write an afterduction. Many times what might happen is you finish your talk and say, "Hey, I brought some books with me. I'll be at the back of the room if you'd like to have one." That's okay, but they don't really want to hear you pitching. Nobody wants to be sold to. But the master of ceremony says, "Hey, I convinced Sunny to stick around for a while. She's got some great materials back there. If you're really nice, she'll let you take a selfie with her. She'll even sign some of that stuff for you." Well, it's far better for that third party to say that than for you to, just like the introduction. So make the afterduction an integral part of your speech too.
How can people get more information about your books and your website?
All right, Fred at nosweatpublicspeaking.com or the website, nosweatpublicspeaking.com. And I'll do this. If they buy a book on Amazon, email me the receipt and I'll send them a 46-page workbook that goes hand in hand with it. No charge.
Love it. Awesome. Awesome. And before I let you go, I love your No Sweat Public Speaking. Tell us about that.
Well, I was very fortunate, came up with a good tagline. I'd rather be lucky than good. But if you can have a tagline, maybe you remember Zig Ziglar. He was a motivational speaker, always said, "I will see you at the top." Yeah, so you remember it. If it's Sunday morning, it's Meet the Press. "Hello, I'm Johnny Cash." I mean, if you have something very distinctive that people will remember, and I was just fortunate to come up with that.
Awesome. Love it. And it really is so interesting, particularly when that's what we do. We sweat.
Oh, yeah.
We
Do you
sweat.
have a tagline?
Hmm?
Do you have a tagline?
I should be able to come up with one between Sunny and Fridge, don't you think?
A number of different ones.
Yes, hot and cold, right? Hot topic,
Yeah.
cool ideas, Sunny Fridge.
That's cool. Very cool.
Yeah. So before I let you go, is there any other information that you could give to that entrepreneur who just really, again, would rather be at a dentist probably than doing public speaking? What encouragement can you give to them?
Practice, practice, practice. Speak, speak, speak. The learning is in the doing. The more you do it, the better you'll get at it. The audience is cheering for you. They want you to succeed. They're glad you're up there and not them. I mean, one of the questions I always ask the audience, I said, "Is anybody sitting out there waiting for me to screw up?" No. I said, "You're glad you're sitting there and I'm up here." So they want the speaker to succeed.
Tell me about a setback in your life and how you turned it into a comeback.
Well, how about thinking about a book for 25 years, not doing it? Someday when I get ready, you can't do it. All you can do is go forward. We're only here for a short time, but we learn more from failures than what happens right the first time. Failing is actually a great thing. You fail, you figure out what went wrong, you fix it, and you go forward. So, but look forward. Too many people dwell on the past, and then they're thinking about the future, and it's going to be someday. Well, someday they're pushing up daisies, and it's all gone, right?
That's right. That's right.
Yes, about failures. Everyone's had a failure.
Mm-hmm.
It's just what you do after that. You got to pick yourself up. The worst speech you'll ever give will be far better than the one you never give.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you, Fred Miller, author, speaker, international public speaking coach, and author of 2 great books, No Sweat Public Speaking. And what's the other one, Fred?
No Sweat Elevator Speech.
That's
How to
right.
develop, practice, and deliver a knock your socks off elevator speech with no sweat.
Boom. Thank you. That's all the time we have on this edition of Rise and Shine Edition. I've been blessed by your texts, your emails, your calls, and comments on social media to let me know you've been inspired by the stories of our guests. If you enjoy our programs, please consider to make a donation of any amount at WYTV7.org. It helps our CBN broadcasters continue to bring you programming that inspires, uplifts, and empowers. For more information, you can reach me at sunnyfridge.com. And please like my Facebook page at facebook.com/iRiseAndShine, or listen anytime to Rise and Shine podcast on iTunes, Google, Spreaker, and more. And if you're not on social media, you can find all my shows and podcasts at WYTV7.org/rise-shine. Thanks so much for watching. I'm Dr. Sunny. Remember, it's your time to rise and shine.